Hello there, I'm Matt Barton, and today I'll be taking you on a little tour of one of my favorite games of all time, SSI's Pool of Radiance, a game that debuted in 1988 for the Commodore 64. You may have heard of me. I am the author of Dungeons and Desktops, a book that covers hundreds, if not thousands, of computer role-playing games, and some for consoles. It came out last year, published by A.K. Peters. I hope you'll check that out. I am also the author, or co-author rather, of Vintage Games. This is a book that's not quite out yet. Won't be out until March. But this book covers all kinds of computer and console and arcade games that we consider the most influential of all time. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into Pool of Radiance. Pool of Radiance, one of the greatest role-playing games of all time, and probably about the most fun you could have with a Commodore 64 in 1988. I thought I'd start this tour with the built-in tour that Pool of Radiance offers, a little demo here to show you what you can expect. You can see there how there's a reminiscent of Bard's Tale, a game that came out earlier by Electronic Arts. There is a sort of a little exploration window in the top left that gives you a first-person 3D perspective as you step through the various areas. And by the way, there's a huge explorable area to this game. It originally came on, I think, maybe 8 double-sided discs, or something crazy like that, and just all kinds of environments that you could explore. And you'll notice here again, like Bard's Tale, when you encounter a monster, it replaces your exploration map, and you see a close-up, usually with a little probably a stretch to call it an animation, maybe 2 or 3 little frames there, maybe that spear going up and down. But here is what really sets this game apart, is the tactical combat. Definitely something you didn't see in Bard's Tale. You did see in Wizard's Crown, another SSI game a little earlier, and a lot of this game's engine is based on that earlier game. But here, everything goes according to the official AD&D rules, which I really liked that. Some people were a little less kind. They thought it was maybe a little too complex. But you'll notice how each character has a turn. Different things take different amounts of time, like that magic missile. You had to select just an option to start casting that spell, and it didn't actually cast until a little bit later. Also notice here, you noticed the orc surrenders. Another nice feature here, a little added realism. You don't always have to fight every battle to the death. The monsters will surrender. So I don't know if the clip was a little short, but you probably got an idea there just how complex and intricate these turn-based battles could become. One of my favorite memories of this game is a battle that takes place several hours in, where you fight for a place called Sokol Keep, and there's a huge battle, epic proportions. It took me probably maybe 2 hours to get through that. And of course I died several times. I had to start all the way over. And here we have the rather annoying copy protection method. The idea here was that you would use a little wheel that came with the game to match up these symbols and lines and get the right word. I guess they figured that it would be harder for the pirates to copy this wheel and ship it around, but of course the pirates just cracked the game pretty early on, so the pirates didn't have this inconvenience that everyone else had, legitimate users had, with trying to get past this code. Okay, what I wanted to show you here is the character creation scheme, which was, people that are used to games like Diablo, where you pretty much click a few buttons and you're good to go. These older games required a pretty sophisticated party creation process. You had to create 7 characters from scratch. Um, you notice here's choices of race, choice of gender. You roll for all kinds of stats, strength, intelligence. You pick an alignment, a name, um, and you have to go through this 6 more times. Hopefully, I just sort of ran through it here, but obviously, if you were serious about this game, you'd want to roll several times to try to get some decent stats. Obviously, a fighter would need more strength and dexterity and constitution. Wizards or mages would need more intelligence, and so on. And here's an interesting innovation. You get to pick from a variety of head icons or head options, different faces basically, and you can pick different bodies depending on how you envision these characters. So you see there I changed to a little happier guy. um, so this would give you some options. Obviously, you could just imagine your characters looked however you wanted, but this was kind of nice. Unfortunately, it takes a while for these images to load, so lots of people just turn these portraits off to speed up the game. Some pretty funny options. There's nothing to stop you from selecting a female body for your character, even though this is obviously a guy. I can select a female body. So I guess this would be, if you wanted to play as a transgendered character, there's nothing to stop you. So you see there are lots of options, probably maybe a dozen male and a dozen female at least. Also notice there's things, I don't know if you can see down there, Thaco 20 damage 1d2. So this was all this sort of esoteric stuff is explained in the rather comprehensive manuals that ship with the game. But clearly, if you had some experience with AD&D, you would be better off. You could take up the game and run with it. So here we have some options for you to customize your combat icon, and not quite as much variety here, but you can change the rudimentary shapes, the weapons, colors of various body parts. It's kind of important to do so just so you can tell your characters apart. So there you have it, folks. A quick overview of Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Pool of Radiance by SSI, one of my favorite games, and one that I hope everyone will get a chance to play.